Up to this point, Rich has been a bit of a twat. He's pushing the 9 steps onto everyone in his path. He's draining the family's financial resources. He treats Frank like crap, and he's happy to use his daughter as a pawn in some insecure power play with the family. His relationship with his wife is strained. They spend most of the film in some state of contention, and no one particularly respects him. He's also been so overbearing with the nobody loves a loser agenda that his daughter develops a bit of a complex about it. In all fairness, Rich as a character experiences a fair amount of loss. He loses his dignity several times, taking tiny, uninterested audiences at his seminars, tracking down Larry Sugarman after the 9 steps has already been rejected, getting humiliated in that whole excerpt with the cop, and getting down on his knees to beg the pageant officials to accept Olive after they're late. The man engorges himself on humble pie. But Rich's biggest loss by far is his father. By the time the Hoovers get to the hospital, Rich is an emotional wreck. Instead of accepting and dealing with his grief, he hatches a plan to smuggle Grandpa's corpse out of the hospital because
if there's one thing my father would have wanted, it's to see Olive perform in the Little Miss Sunshine pageant.
Rich manages to successfully rally the family, who have up until now been happy to openly mock him, possibly because he's finally dropped the fake happy facade. Well, he's still deluding himself, but at least he's being open about his emotions. This is the moment he lowers himself to a fallible, human level, and the family respects that. And while Rich advocates for Olive with the pageant officials, this moment is about Rich and his incredible state of grief and desperation.
Please. You don't know what we've been through.
Once Olive has been successfully registered, Rich sends his father back to Albuquerque. There's not a whole lot of emotional time and space for him to process things, so he jumps right back into the Little Miss Sunshine competition. Rich tries to sincerely engage with the pageant, but soon realizes that the whole disgusting farce places unrealistic expectations of adult feminine beauty onto little girls, and okay. He finds the whole situation a little weird, a little creepy, and decides to confront Cheryl about taking Olive out of the competition. This is where he gains some clarity and starts to focus his energy on his daughter. Cheryl ultimately rejects his plea, but Rich is willing to throw away all of the physical and emotional hardship he endured on this road trip to protect his daughter from the disturbing world of pageantry. This is in stark contrast to his attitude at the beginning of the film.
There's no sense in entering a contest if you don't think you're going to win.
And when the pageant lady starts screaming for Olive to get off stage, Rich initially tries to follow protocol, but his instincts get the better of him, and he joins his daughter in her ridiculous dance. Yet again, this once reviled and awkward dweeb is able to rally the family to an act of transgression in order to support one of their own.